How do you there, guys? Welcome back to Edgar TV, where today, as promised, we're going to be taking a look at the players who could go up the rankings during the European Championship. We've done the video already looking at the players that could move down the rankings. Go check that one out if you haven't seen it already. But today we're going to be taking a look at players that are not really defending anything or not defending anything at all. Now, normally we have quite a few people in the moving down category, and we probably will at the end of this tournament. The reason being is this is an extensive list of people who don't really have anything to defend or very little to defend at this year's tournament. The first place we're going to start is with Luke Humphries, who reached a quarter-final a couple of years ago. £20,000 he's defending. However, the form he's in, the runs he's on at the moment, the way he's playing, you wouldn't put it past him extending that lead at the top of the rankings. Currently, miles clear, about £700,000 clear, and he could extend even further here if he can beat the quarter-final, even if he matches it, because the prize money has gone up from a couple of years ago where he beat Ratajski, beat Searle, before losing to Michael Smith. Now, that's someone who's sort of at the top. There's some big names who aren't really defending much at all, or not defending anything at all. And I think we're going to see a lot of movement. We see a lot of movement at the back end of the year anyway, but I think this is the event that's really going to be the catalyst for that. Take a look at this. So this is the list of people in the big name category. These are top 10 players. Heta's now just dropped outside the world's top 10. He's world number 11. But these are players within the world's top 10, and I've included Heta on here just because he's just outside and he's defending barely nothing at the back end of the year, which is why I've included him on this list. £44,000 is defended by Damon Heta, just 9% at the back end of the year. But so's Gerwyn Price, only 18% of his prize money up for grabs at the back end of the year as well. So some really interesting names here who went out early last year, £6,000. Now, just by being in the event, they're going to be getting more than £6,000 anyway, because the prize money's gone up. I'll show you what the prize money is in a minute if you're not too familiar with that. But Damon Heta strikes me as interesting because I personally think he could make a run at the back end of this year, as could Dave Chisholm, really get close to that world's top 4, which would see them both get to the Premier League. Now, I don't think they both will, but I think one of them will. And let's say Heta defending barely anything at the back end of the year. These players also went out in the first round. Now, some of these are in form at the moment. Martin Schindler just recently winning a European Tour. Andrew Gilding's only defending 7% of his prize money at the back end of this year, and he's getting bonus money here, £1,500 extra for just being in the first round onto his rankings. £40,000 currently off the world's top 16, so we could potentially see him move back up the rankings. Daryl Gurney, player I keep talking about being in good form at the moment, he's only got £28,000 to defend at the back end of this year, so he could be another player who could make a challenge back towards the world's top 16 and the world's elite. Martin Schindler is £40,000 off of that and is a man in form at the moment, as is Stephen Bunting. 3 back-to-back Pro Tour finals as well from him, but tough draw. And that's the thing, like, you look at who's in form at the moment, you go, well, they could get a run together, but the draw, oh, there's some nasty ones out there, isn't there? But that's not everything. We've also got to look at players that are in the event who wasn't in the event a couple of years ago. These aren't defending anything. These aren't just getting £1,500 top up. These are getting everything going on their rankings. This is free money. It's free money for the young lads of the event to start with. Luke Littler, as always, adding money onto his order of merit. Every event he plays in, even next year, every event he plays in, he's defending nothing. So it all adds up for Luke Littler, who is currently £10,000 or so away from the world's top 16. I think he's going to be getting there. Ricardo Pietrezco is in a battle to be in the top 32. I've had a chat with him very recently, and he tells me that's where he wants to be. He wants to be in the world's top 32, of course you do. 4 players in that battle at the moment for the world's top 32 are not in this event. So a big event here for Pietrezco just by being in it. Not only that, if he can pick up a win or two, it's going to help his case drastically. Gian van Veen could put a bit of daylight between himself and the players in the world's top 32, where Mike de Decker will be hoping to follow up the success he had at the Grand Prix and really make that Premier League conversation something prominent. We're talking about in Premier League, no Grand Prix champions has ever not been in the Premier League. No winner of a Sky Major TV event has never not been in the Premier League. So Mike De Decker firmly in that conversation. If you can back this up with a bit of a run here, if you can back that up with something in the European Championships, that's surely going to help his case. But they're not the only players. It's not just those guys who are getting free money. How about legendary darter Raymond van Barneveld wasn't in this event a couple of years ago. He's going to be adding. Luke Woodhouse now jumps Scott Williams in the rankings and pushes himself closer to the world's top 32. Same goal really for Richie Edhouse, but he's got about £80,000 of which to find. Gary Anderson closing in now on the world's top 16, where Jermaine Watamena is someone I think at the moment is a little bit of a sneaky outsider for events, and he's going to go on a bit of a run. His form, everything he's doing at the moment, is the sort of player that reaches a quarter-final, a semi-final at the Players' Championship finals, and everyone goes, where did that come from? I said it before the recent European Tour. He then went to the quarter-finals, beat Chris Dobey 6-0 on the way. So he's someone to keep an eye on. I think he could be an outsider for getting into the world's top 32 at the back end of the year. Currently £90,000 off, but doesn't have a lot of money to defend, and everything he wins here will be a benefit because he's one of those players that is defending nothing. So, what are the players playing for? So I've already mentioned that some of the players who was in this event a couple of years ago are gaining prize money by being in it again despite losing the first round. That is because the first round prize money has increased now, £7,500. £15,000, that is a sizable jump and a sizable paycheck. That is the same as being a seed for the World Championship or being a non-seed and winning a game. So if you can win a game here, someone like, let's say, Jermaine Watamena, for example, wins a game here in the World Championships, that's £30,000. So when I say he's only £90,000 away from the top 32, you can see how it can easily become something that's realistic. The same aspect when we look at Luke Littler, who's only £10,000 away now from the world's top 16. You've got to think a quarter-final here should pretty much guarantee that. We know quarter-final a couple of years ago, £20,000. That's what Luke Humphries is defending. So a quarter-final run would add 5,000 on, but he'll be looking at those big prizes, those semi-finals, the runner-up, or at least the main championship. £100,000 has gone on the event since a couple of years ago. £500,000, now a £600,000 event. The accumulation of the European Tour, if you are unfamiliar with what makes up this event, is the top 32 players off the European Tour only. So only those players that took part in that event. So lots of big names. Normally we see the big names are defending the big money, because that's why they're at the top end of the rankings, because they've got big chunks. But this, an event 2 years ago that was blown apart, and actually the players that we'd normally expect to be defending big are defending very little. Could see some movement in the rankings. This one could be the start. After this, we've got the Grand Slam, we've got the Players' Championship, and we've got the World Championship. So expect how the rankings look now. They're going to look nothing like it in a couple of months' time. If that confuses you, don't worry. I'll talk you through it right here on Edgar TV. Go hit that subscribe button. Hit the like if you are enjoying these videos. We'll be live for some predictions and some stats. So join me on those, and I'll catch you soon for some more Edgar TV.